Welcome to Start That Business podcast, where we help Jesus-led career moms turn their expertise into their first coaching or consulting business in just 12 weeks. If that sounds like you, you're in the right place. My name is Chichi Ukomadu. I am a Jesus follower, an entrepreneur, a mom of three, and a Christian business coach. This month, I started a business book review series, and I'm sharing 4 powerful books that have shaped me as a Jesus-led entrepreneur. Today's book is a total game changer. In today's episode, I'm talking about the 3rd book titled Do More Better by Tim Challies. This book is my absolute favorite when it comes to productivity from a Christian perspective. If you're a Jesus-led career mom trying to launch a coaching or consulting business while juggling work, kids, ministry, and you're feeling like you're always behind, this episode is for you. At the end of this episode, you have the clarity, confidence, and the tools to balance a full life and show up for your calling to build your business with Christ at the center. If you're ready, if you're excited like I am, pop in those earbuds, lace those shoes, and let's get started. I hope you're enjoying the business book review series. It's summer for me where I am in the United States, and summer is always filled with a lot of activities, especially for moms. Your kids are either in some summer camp or summer program, or you're taking them swimming, or you're doing so many activities depending on where your kids are in the spectrum. If you have younger kids, they want to go to the pool all the time to swim. If you have older kids, they just want to stay on their computer and play their games with their friends. If you have older kids, they're probably working a summer job or taking some summer classes in college or whatnot. But regardless on where you are and what summer looks like for you, you will really enjoy this book, Do More Better. What the book Do More Better did for me, it helped me see productivity from a Christ-centered lens. So it helped me see productivity from a different lens, because we're in a world where hustle culture is real. Some people even pride themselves in the hustle culture. They're like, oh, I hustle. But this book gave me a different lens. It helped me see productivity from God's point of view. The author, Tim Challies, he defined productivity as effectively stewarding your gifts, your time, your energy, and your roles for God's glory. When I read it, I'm like, oh my goodness, God sees productivity from a completely different lens than the world sees productivity. And it makes sense, because in God's word, he tells us, my ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts. So most times the way God sees things is completely different from the way the world sees things. So just that definition alone, it shifted my perspective to see productivity as being a steward of my gifts, my time, my energy, the different roles and responsibility God has called me to, all for God's glory. So it completely shifted me from the hustle culture and made me see what I do for God's glory. It also reminded me of Colossians 3:23, where it says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord and not working for men. So that is what productivity looks like in the kingdom of God. Productivity is stewardship, stewarding what God has given to you. And this has helped reframe my mind and has helped me prioritize my business task without feeling guilty, because God has called me to be a mom. He has called me in ministry. He has given me a calling in the business world, and he expects me to be a faithful steward of these different roles, of the gifts, of my time, of my energy. So it helped me take away mom guilt so that whenever I'm working on my business, I'm not feeling guilty because I am being a steward of that gift and that calling of being an entrepreneur. Just the way I'm being a steward when I'm being a mom to my kids or a wife to my husband, or I'm in ministry doing one thing or the other in church. So it totally helped me just put mom guilt aside and say, hey, I'm doing exactly what God expects me to do. So that was my first takeaway from that book, which is productivity isn't about doing more. It's about stewardship. Like I already said, productivity is about stewardship. How do I manage the different roles and responsibilities, gifts, time, energy, all for God's glory? How do I merge everything so that I can fulfill my calling in the different roles God has called me to do, all for His glory? My second takeaway from the book, Do More Better, is systems serve your calling, not the other way around. So, systems, when you look at the nature of God, when you look at the character of God, you see that God is a God of systems. When you go to Genesis chapter 1 and you read the story of creation, you see God in all his glory creating systems that the world is running on over 2,000 years later, over many, many years and decades later. So God created those systems once, and they're still running up to today. You have the solar system, you have the system that governs the water, the seas, and all the things he created. You have the light system. You come to the body. The body alone has so many systems. I remember my biology class, and when we studied about the different systems in the body, I got overwhelmed. I'm like, this is too many systems to even remember when you're taking a test. But that is how intentional God is. Systems serve our calling. God expects us to create systems to serve our calling. God expects us to create systems to help us steward our gifts, our time, our energy, our roles for His glory. So He gave us a template in Genesis 1. When you read the story of creation, you see that God will create a system first, then He will now fill it up with things. So He created the sea first, then He put the fishes in the sea. So we learn all that just by watching His character and seeing the way He creates system. One of the things the book Do More Better did for me, it offered simple systems that you can create to help you manage your gifts, your time, your energy, your roles. So it talked about a task management system. It talked about a scheduling system and a system of daily or weekly review so that every week you're reviewing your progress. Every week you're reviewing your responsibilities in your different roles as mom, as entrepreneur, as a ministry leader, and any other responsibility you might have. The book also broke down my favorite system, which is my task management system. It broke it down and it gives you some recommendation to like task management systems you can use, like Todoist, Trello, Meister Task, which is the one I currently use. And there's so many options there, but it goes from spiritual to practical. So it goes from telling you that productivity is about being a good steward, then it gives you the tools you need to actually put the systems in place to help you manage the different roles and responsibilities you have in your life. And for me, once I went through reading that book and I implemented these systems, it has completely changed the way I manage my time, my gifts, my energy, my roles, and my weekly planning rhythm has also changed because now I've put systems in place to help me manage these different roles and responsibility. And I know I have an episode I've done about my weekly planning and review system, how I go through every week, planning different areas of my life as a mom, as an entrepreneur, as a ministry leader, and how this has helped me become more productive. God is not the author of confusion. He moves through order and grace. And when you have systems in place, they help you serve your calling. So if there's an area of your life where you're struggling right now and things look like they're out of order, you need to sit and you need to ask God, what systems do I need to create to simplify what you have asked me to do, to simplify the different roles you have called me so that I can be a more effective steward? All right, so what is your action item? What are you going to do based on the wisdom, the information you have gotten from this episode? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to create your ideal weekly workflow, if I'll call it that. Your ideal weekly workflow. Grab a sheet of paper or open a Google Word document. List all your current roles. So you're a mom, you're a wife, you're an employee, you are maybe a ministry volunteer, maybe you volunteer in your church, a church volunteer, you are an aspiring coach looking to start your own coaching or consulting business. List all your roles, your current roles right now. Also list your role as an aspiring coach or consultant, because remember, you're trying to start this new online coaching or consulting business. So list it, then ask yourself this question. What one thing in your week would make everything else easier if it were in place, if it was organized? So it might be your weekly schedule, maybe organizing your weekly schedule so that you fit the different roles and responsibilities into it. It might be creating a weekly workflow that you use to start your week, or you use to end your week, or you use to start your day, or you use to end your day. It can be a weekly meal prep so that the family meals are taken care of and you don't have to worry about it. It can be maybe bringing out your clothes out for the week so that it takes you less time to get ready for work and you can squeeze in maybe a 15 minutes or 30 minutes block to eat one frog that has to do with launching your business before you go to work. So what is that one thing in your week that will make everything easier if you were to put it in place? So once you write that thing down, set a timer for 15 minutes this weekend and map out a simply weekly workflow that you can follow to solve, to organize that particular area that you just identified. Don't overthink it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to create your first best draft and start implementing that workflow in your life to get that area organized, and you can tweak and refine it as you go. All right, I hope you have been enjoying this business book review series. Next week, we're going to explore the final book in this series called Stony Heart. Now, this one, I will encourage you to come with some tissue because it might be a little bit emotional, but I promise you it's going to be good. We're going to end this series with a powerful book about healing the heart, because you can't build a healthy business with a wounded soul or a broken heart. So you don't want to miss next week's episode because it's going to be so good. I promise it's going to be so good. If you need accountability to help you work on an area of your life that is currently disorganized, I encourage you to join my weekly accountability co-working Saturdays. Get on the call. It's not a coaching call, but it's a focus space to work on a goal or a task for 50 minutes. It's a group call. For 5 minutes, we spend picking what we're going to work on. We post it in the chat. Then I set a timer for 50 minutes. I put on focus music. We get to work and we work on that task for 50 minutes. And when we're done, we'll review our progress at the end. So if you need accountability, it's a free weekly accountability co-working session. Come on and let's work on your goal and let's become better stewards in the gifts, the time, the energy, the roles God has given to us for His glory. Remember, productivity isn't about being perfect or doing more. It's about being present, prepared, and being led by purpose. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you learned something new and you were encouraged to take action. If so, will you stop right now and share this episode with someone so they can get the help you just got? I would also love it if you can leave a review for this podcast on Apple Podcast or the podcast app you're using to listen. This is the number one way I know you're getting value from the content on this podcast. Until next time, always remember you have all you need to start that business. So keep listening for more episodes. I'll meet you here next week.